Good morning. Namaskar to everybody. Thank you for being here. This time, Lawrence did tell that he wants to start this very, very early uh, by Indian standards, 9 o'clock. It was not an easy proposition in my mind because normally when you tell people at 9, it starts slightly late. But it has started late. Do not worry. There is enough buffer built in to make sure that all of us would be able to achieve what we are set to achieve today. Having said that, the context for today is extremely important. I think that's the reason that all of us have come in here. Uh, there are some things that's happening out in the market that would redefine the way all of us would work, and I know that all the HR heads and various people in the HR department here have got their playbook already filled with various things that you'll need to achieve. So when I was told I have to come in and set this context, it was worrying because each of you are already grappling with it every day. Many of you have got these huge strategies that's been created. And as far as RA is concerned, our only job is to try and make sure that we connect, converse, collaborate, and sometimes catalyze. So the thought for me was, now that we've got a lot of people coming in and then we've got ourselves in this room, what can we achieve when we go out of this room? So this is the main thought that I have. Uh, so without much ado, I'd first like to say thank you to the various people who came together and made sure that we could really achieve this, the various people from various of our member organizations, and also the people who put their money to make sure that all of us can come and achieve this. So thank you to the various sponsors and partners. So firstly, so the context was, what are you all doing and what can we do as an industry and what can I take away as RAI to go out of this room and make sure that we can kind of catalyze or collaborate. That was the original idea. Uh, do you have that set up? The wonderful thing about the days nowadays is that we can really set this whole context with AI. So I also try to do what I can with with AI. I mean, I've become as lazy as most people because what's happening to consumers before we jump here? As far as consumers are concerned, the consumers are saying, "Can I really know what it is that you can do for me at an individual level, at a personal level?" They do not want you to bombard them with various things that's going to be not relevant to them. So personalization is what's happening with them, and I keep telling this every time I go and meet various people. The second part of what the consumers are saying is that, can you at least commit something and make sure that you are able to deliver on your commitments? So if I have that confidence, then I will work with you, or I'll kind of spend my time with you. Otherwise, I don't want to spend my time with you. Money is a slightly different aspect. They don't even want to spend time. The third thing is that, are you fast enough? And I think that's become the big thing for all of us, right? Speed is very, very important. Share of watch has become extremely important. And if you are not fast, if you are not able to make sure that your delivery is happening on time, if you are not able to make sure that you are able to give them a solution on time, then they are saying, I don't want to really deal with you. So this is the consumers. And in the world of quick commerce, everything seems to be possible for consumers, right? Sometimes it's faster to buy on quick commerce than to be able to go to your own kitchen and cook. That's the way it is. So it's not even about money or anything else. It's just about the sheer speed. And as consumers, if you really look back to all of our own things as consumers, once we make up our mind that we want something, we want it now. That's the way we operate. And the last part is, irrespective of where I am and at what point of time it is, I want you to be available to me. So that's what the consumer is saying. If you're not available to me, I'll go to somebody else. There are enough people in this ecosystem, and I'll go and buy from them. So if this is what customers are saying, and then you've got to now make sure that you've got a set of people who are going to be able to ensure that you are able to provide the service that these customers want, then the kind of people that we need is not the same as what it was, let's say, even 5 years ago. Even in the middle of COVID, the kind of people that we needed is not the kind of people that we need today. So with that in context and with what RAI can do, I've got some AI that's come and helped me. If you agree, raise your hands. If you don't agree, say, I don't agree to it. Do not raise your hand. So that's what it is. I think it's a matter of collective capabilities that we'll need to build, because that's the time when you all are coming in here and all of us are meeting. Otherwise, each of us have got our own fiefdoms, or let's say the place of work or temple that we all go to every day, and we've got our own set of things that we are able to achieve. So, so what's happening? The entire retail workforce is definitely, it's large, it's a lot of people who are available to us. The fact is that we are now the most populous country in the world, and that's also means that there are so many more human beings to whom we have to serve. So that's nice thing there. There are lots of workforce transformation drivers that's changing things here. I think all of you would agree digitization is definitely changing. Sometimes I think technology is able to do what otherwise we'd have taken 10, 15, 20 days to complete. And then, of course, the entire workforce dynamics are completely changing. The leadership role is therefore changing also. All of you agree, not agree? Yeah, okay, agree, okay. Uh, so what are the key things that's happening there? Talent acquisition is as tough as ever. We all say that it's a populous country, but I do know that the head of HR or the people who are making sure that we can get the right kind of workforce or get them to remain in this workforce are facing tough times. The more you go in, the more types of businesses happen, the more multi-channel we get. I think it's becoming really, really, really challenging. And can we come together to try and see if we can create some methodologies there that can help us? Okay, that's one of my key things that I'd like to kind of take away at the end of these sessions today as RAI. Can we do anything there at all? The second part of is definitely upskilling, future readiness. I think that's how a whole lot of things there. Each one of you are doing spectacular things, I'm sure, to make sure that upskilling happens. Every day there are new topics that's getting discussed, and each of our companies kind of face up these new challenges to try and see if we are skilling these people, keeping them interested, and making sure that they would still be retained by us. So that's, I think, the tough thing that's happening. Some parts are getting easier because of technology, but some parts are getting tougher, again because of technology. So that's the way it is. To be able to get a person to look at you and to talk to you for 5 minutes is, I think, the most tough things in this world now. Most of us are so adept to getting back into our digital screens and various things. If we have to create attention for even that 5 minutes, extremely tough. Imagine a floor manager on the floor trying to make sure that these people are able to attend to the consumers. The consumers themselves are not giving attention to the person who is trying to serve them. And the person who is trying to serve them is trying to think, okay, now what can I do? This person is not interested. Can I go back to my screen? Is what is happening on a day-to-day basis. And I'm sure it's the way it is when we do various interactions across various levels in the organization. The employee experience and well-being was always a big question mark for the industry. And I'd not like to mince words here, because while the tech industry, the various industries like banking are all evolving to try and make sure that we can do very easy, flexible kind of a workforce. We are able to make sure that all kinds of circumstances are created for our workforce. It's a bit tougher in retail. Because you are on the floor, you have to be opening the shop at the same time every day. You have to manage customers through the day, especially if you are if you are a physical store. If you are in a digital sphere, it's equally tough, because you are in the middle of now the big billion days or whatever it is that each company has got, and then the kind of deliveries that's happening, the kind of work pressure that's happening is absolutely against what is otherwise happening for consumers. When consumers get most time is when we get most busy, and that's really the tough thing that we have. And I think the well-being standards have to be really redefined for the industry, and I hope that at the end of the day we have some kind of strategy that we can do specific to retail as an industry. The other thing is about diversity. I think just before we started, we had a few discussions here, front of table kind of discussions, and we had our own points of view, right? So we had our thoughts telling, okay, how can we get more women into this workforce? It's wonderful that there are so many women here, but since yesterday I've been attending on CFO conclave here and tech conclave here. I can tell you I could kind of count the women to be like at the most 4 in the room. Now that's not a very nice thing to happen. Actually, it's quite uninteresting and boring. But I'm sure it was boring for the women more than it was boring for the men, because it's not nice to be in a room where everywhere around the chromosomes are very, very different, right? So how do we make sure that we have the right amount of women in leadership roles and across various functions within the organization? I think is important. Similarly, people with differential skills or differentially able skills also have to be included. I'm not saying that, I mean, the big question was whether we should have a quota system. I don't think it's a quota system, I agree with you. But having said that, I think that consciousness to seeing how can we get them in is very important. I hope as RAI we are able to come together to try and create some things that will create new capabilities or new methodologies to get lots more, let's say, diverse kind of a culture within companies so that we can really go ahead with whatever strategies and plans we have. Um, the tech part of the business, all of you, I'm sure you're grappling with it. Some of you have mastered it, I think, but anybody who says I've mastered it are possibly landing themselves into trouble because tech's growing so much faster that all of us are kind of left thinking, can I really go through with this? And many a times our customers are redefining tech for us. I think, I mean, I have no shame to say that sometimes it's my 80-year-old mother-in-law who puts me on my toes because she comes out with such classic requirements that I'm kind of stunned. And she says, what, you working with IBM before and you keep thinking that you're kind of doing various tech conferences. You can't even do this for me. I'll give you one small example. She put up this whole picture that she had taken with some of her friends and relatives about 10, 12 years before, and she wanted just the two people at the front to be visible. And there was one or two people even ahead of her. So she wanted all the people at the background removed. She wanted that one human being who was kind of covering her, and then she wanted only she and her sister to be visible in that photograph. Now this is the kind of questions that comes up to us. Thankfully, the AI part of it helped me to do what I wanted to do. It also ensured that the person at the front was removed, the sari continuity was there, and I think I passed that exam that day. But each one of you are going through this. Now imagine what's going to happen when a 12-year-old asks you for this. Sometimes I find it easier to put the same kind of question to a 12-year-old because they come out with the answers faster than I can come with an answer, right? So in a workforce that's going to be skilled faster when they are much younger, how do you make sure that tech enablement is happening across levels? So we have to gulp our egos and sometimes go to the 12 and 13-year-old to try and help us to perform better. So within RA, I keep telling people that if you can find me a very intelligent kid who is like 14, 15 years of age, who likes to dabble in various things, not necessarily very bright in getting marks in his or her college, I don't mind. Bring that person to this office because we can do better. In fact, it's one such person who was like 16 years of age who came in and told us how to make money on YouTube years before. He came and he kind of changed the way we do our whole system, and this is about 10 years before. And he taught us how to really relook at ourselves. So sometimes crashing egos and learning is what I think makes things different, especially in this tech-driven world. And then, of course, the favorites that we always have. The whole gig worker thing. As RAI, we are trying to see what are the right rules for gig workers within the business ecosystem. Traditional retailers have always had this worry. How can I get part-time workers on the floor? How can I make sure that during peak times we've got enough people to serve consumers on the floor? And I think there are a few things to learn from guys who are doing this gig worker kind of an economy because there's a lot more that's happening there, and I'm sure some of you already done a blended approach to that. We've already talked about the other parts of this, so I'm not going to get too much into this. One part I'd like to talk about is this whole thing around second tier, third tier, fourth tier, fifth tier cities. When you look at retail profitability, some of these cities are really throwing back some good numbers for us, right? It's creating the right amount of customers. It's making lots more business for us. The cost of occupation and the cost of other aspects of the retail business is cheaper for us. Having said that, how you get the talent in this city is a big requirement. I think there's a huge opportunity sitting there. For example, if we have to create a place of stay for some of our people at the front end, in such places, it's possibly affordable. because some of the government incentives are possibly available, will possibly get support from a tertiary set of villages and towns, and it's possible to create them to come in and stay. Now, can we work together to try and make sure that we can create the right ecosystem of employees in these places? Also, they are nearer to the place from where they really originally come from, in which case they are possibly lots more engaged in the business than if they were thinking that they are coming to Mumbai and working and they have to go back to, let's say, some part of the east of India. It's not the easiest of things to happen. So can we come together and work? There are enough things that's happening. Thankfully now as RAI, we could possibly also use National Skill Development Corporation and other parts of this ecosystem to try and help us. But it's for us to take the lead, and I need inputs from all of you on this. So this is my thought. This is what AI is also helped with. So if it's done a good job, you can clap your hands. I did do it. And I do hope that end of the day, we can go back with at least 3 or 4 things that we can do back in our own workplaces that can add value to the place that we are working in. Thank you and namaste.